Hey guys, it's John here. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the hidden world of sea monkeys and other instant pets. Today I'll be doing an unboxing and review of the Sea Monkey's Magic Castle tank. This is one of the most popular and longest running novelty sea monkey tank designs. It was first released by Asparuhgus in the year 1999, and since then there have been several variations of the tank, all of which I have with me here to show you today. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video too, for your chance to win a Sea Monkey's Magic Castle tank that I'll be giving away to one of my subscribers. As the name implies, the tank features a pink castle ornament, which is likely a reference to some early Joe Orlando sea monkey artwork, which depicted the iconic sea monkey nuclear family with a large purple castle in the background. This set came out 1 year before its companion tank, the Sea Monkeys on Mars, which had a similar domed tank design, but instead of the castle, it featured a Martian theme and a sea monkey astronaut tethered to a spaceship. My guess is that the Magic Castle tank was probably marketed towards girls, while the Mars tank was released later as an option for boys. These two tanks were the first cylindrical sea monkey aquarium designs, a clear deviation from the standard shape of the mini ocean zoo variants that came before them. This new change appears to have been wildly popular too, as over 2 decades later, they're both still in production today. This press release dated to February 1999 gives us a little more insight into this set at the time of its debut. It says that it had a recommended retail price of $9.95 and that its domed shape was inspired by snow globes. Most people don't know this, but there are actually 3 different variations of the Magic Castle tank. The first, which is incredibly rare, is this original Magic Castle from 1999. It has a dark purple base and a short but wide shape. This design was only around for about a year or so before it was updated to this modern and slightly taller one I have here. The external base of the tank has a new mould, and the base colour has changed from dark purple to a bright turquoise green. The third variant used to just be a regional Japanese exclusive. It's almost identical to the Western tank design, but instead of the famous pink and blue castle, it had a transparent crystal blue one instead. I'm unsure why this change was made. Perhaps it was an attempt to make the colourway appear more gender neutral, or maybe it's to allow you to view your swimming sea monkeys a little more clearly. Whatever the reason, it made this set a popular buy for those who collect the rarer tanks. Very recently though, it seems that the standard pink and blue Magic Castle tank, which has been a staple for so many years, has now been retired and replaced internationally with the crystal blue Japanese design. So if you want to get one of these, I'd recommend buying one as soon as possible, before they're off shelves for good. The packaging for the Magic Castle kit has also gone through a few variations over the years, though the contents of the kit and the overall purple and pink theme has remained largely unchanged. Under the production of Big Time Toys in 2011, the Magic Castle set had a larger box, which was a little more showy and displayed each of the included items really clearly. These days though, the Magic Castle is housed in a similar square box, just like the original version from '99. Up top we have the words, "The Original Sea Monkey's Magic Castle." Coming down is an open cutout in the middle showing the tank itself. Aquatic illustrations of the infamous anthropomorphic sea monkeys frame the tank, and while they're fun, I can't say this is my favourite artistic style. I've recently heard that Todd Machin, who's the current illustrator for Transcience and a close friend of the channel, will be doing an update of this packaging soon, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. Also included over here is a photo of a real brine shrimp showing their actual size, which is a cool addition. The back of all 3 boxes shows a photo of the tank and accessories, while the 2 newer ones also have a nice simple set of instructions showing how to use the 3 packets to start and feed your sea monkey colony. I noticed that the original Magic Castle box from '99 has 2 interesting quirks. The first is that it has a 2-year guarantee for your sea monkeys, where they'll replace the water purifier and egg pouches for free. The other is that they call the yellow feeding spoon an AccuMeasure spoon, which I don't think I've seen anywhere else before. Let's open it up and take a look at what's inside. Today I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing all 3 of these tank variants. I've actually been wanting to make this video for a long time, but I was having a lot of trouble finding the original purple Magic Castle tank from 1999. Even after a year of constantly searching online, I never saw a single one come up for sale. Luckily Todd was somehow able to track this one down for me. The box isn't in great condition, but the tank is still perfect, so it'll work fine for today. Thanks again for your generous contribution to the channel, Todd. This video wouldn't have been complete without your insight and this essential element. All three kits come with an instruction sheet. The modern tank just has the standard instructions, which is commonly included in all of the modern sea monkey kits. The Japanese version has really nice personalized instructions, with nice clear illustrations. You might have noticed that the Japanese packaging and these instructions don't actually feature the pink anthropomorphic sea monkeys anywhere. Instead, they have their own cute little characters which look a little more like real brine shrimp. The original 99 Magic Castle tank instructions are definitely my favourite of the three though. Firstly, it comes with the famous yellow "It's Fun to Raise Pet Sea Monkeys" handbook, which is the most comprehensive and best sea monkey handbook ever made. I talked about this in more detail in my review of the Sea Monkeys Ocean of Fun video, but for anybody who wants to read it, I've left the PDF version of this handbook in the video description for you. There's a separate personalized instruction sheet with this kit too. It's very simple with some great outlined illustrations of the Magic Castle tank. Personalized instructions like this always make these kits feel so much more special to me. I really wish they were still printing this for the Magic Castle sets today. All three kits come with an Aqualeash air pump, which is a really useful tool for aerating the water and just general tank maintenance. There's also a yellow feeding spoon in each, and of course the 3 packets needed for starting a sea monkey colony. The Japanese kit has a sticker on the back of each pouch translating its contents and their function. You'll notice that the original Magic Castle comes with the addition of a 4th packet, Plasma 3. I've never actually used one of these before. It says that adding this into the tank helps 50% more sea monkeys grow and thrive. So I'm looking forward to taking a closer look once the tanks are set up and established. And now for the tanks. You can see there are some clear differences between these two variations, the most obvious being the size. It looks like the new tank is 20 to 30% larger in volume, and I can see why they made it larger, because the original version feels really small, even for a sea monkey tank. The base for both is quite similar though. They have a textured sea reef substrate with a pink and blue square shaped castle sitting on top, all of which is enclosed in a clear dome. The original Magic Castle tank is mostly indigo coloured, with the word Sea Monkeys written across the bottom of the base. I'm not a huge fan of the lettering here. It doesn't look particularly tidy or professional. The updated variant has done a much better job in my opinion, changing the colour to a brighter turquoise green and improving the lettering to now say, "The original Sea Monkeys Magic Castle." The Japanese variant is the same again, only this time the castle is a transparent crystal blue. All three tanks feature a small round lid which doubles as a magnifying glass, and that's because unlike most other sea monkey tanks, this one doesn't have magnifying bubbles built into the tank surface itself. The only difference between the lids of the older and new variants is that they now have a few small air holes to help with air circulation, a small but welcome addition. The opening up top gives you convenient access to the tank for feeding or aerating the water with an airline or Aqualeash. Overall, the tanks give a great first impression, and the textured substrate on the bottom looks like a nice surface for algae to grow on, so I'm hopeful that these will work well. It's hard to really review these tanks properly without actually using them for a few weeks first, so I think it's about time we set them up for a proper test. For the 1999 Magic Castle, I'll be using a brand new Sea Monkey starter kit, because the 24-year-old eggs in those pouches probably won't hatch after such a long time. First up, I need to fill the 3 tanks with water. I often get asked what kind of water is the best for sea monkeys, and my answer is always the same. Distilled is my personal preference, but any regular bottled spring water will do just fine. The instructions for the original Magic Castle say to just take the water near the top below the air holes. They've added a handy fill line which is printed on the back of the newer tanks, which makes this step really easy. Next up, I need to add in packets number 1 and 2, the water purifier and instant live eggs. If you've used distilled or spring water, it's not necessary to wait the recommended 24 hours before adding these 2 pouches. Since both of these packets contain eggs, I always try my best to empty the entire contents of each pouch into the tank, just to make sure I don't miss any. The included Aqualeash is a great tool for dissolving all of the salt crystals. I usually just give it around 10 pumps or until most of the salts are no longer visible. Now that we're all set up, I just need to find a good spot to keep them. I'm going to leave the 3 tanks on this windowsill for the next month or so while the sea monkeys hatch and grow. It's a great spot as there's a lot of indirect sunlight here that will give them plenty of light without heating up the tanks too much. You'll also notice that there's a long under-tank heat mat on this windowsill too, which is controlled by a thermostat. The ideal temperature for a brine shrimp tank is 26 degrees Celsius or 79 Fahrenheit, and these heat mats are great if you only need to increase your tank's temperature by a few degrees. I'll also be adding a permanent air line into each tank from this USB air pump. A lot of people don't bother with air pumps in their sea monkey tanks, but in my experience, they help significantly with reducing infant mortality by providing plenty of oxygen and keeping any food particles in perpetual circulation where they can be easily accessed and eaten by the babies. And lastly, I'll add some purple grow lights to promote the growth of green phytoplankton in the tanks too. In my opinion, the presence of phytoplankton in a sea monkey tank is the single most important element that contributes to a colony's long-term success, so I always try to do everything I can to promote its growth. As always, there are links to purchase all of these accessories, as well as the Sea Monkey's Magic Castle tank in the video description. I'll check back in with you guys in a month or so to give you an update and my full review of the tanks. Hey guys, it's been 4 weeks since setting these tanks up, and the colonies in all 3 of them have now established themselves really well. My feelings towards them have changed a lot after having hands-on experience with them for the last month too. You can see there's now around 20 adults in each tank and a bunch of mating pairs too, which is a great indication of the colony's overall good health. It usually takes around a month or so, but you can already see a fair bit of algae growth in the 2 newer Magic Castle tanks. For some reason, the older one hasn't seen the same success in this regard, but I'm unsure why. Overall though, I'm really happy with how everything's progressed. Before I give you my review of these tanks, I want to take a closer look at the Plasma 3 that came with the original Magic Castle set. I love the vintage image on the front. It was illustrated by Joe Orlando in 1972 and depicts a sea monkey scientist performing experiments on his pet sea monkeys. The back says that it helps 50% more sea monkeys grow and thrive, but it doesn't say exactly how it works. My guess is that this is achieved by one simple method: adding more sea monkey eggs and salt into the tank. Fortunately, I have a microscope so we can take a closer look to see if my suspicion is correct. Here we are at 60 times optical zoom. Amongst the salt crystals, you'll notice some small pieces of green organic material. My guess is that it's probably dried food. And over here, towards the top left of the picture, are 2 brown spheres. Those right there are indeed 24-year-old sea monkey eggs. I think it's really cool that they used to include these plasma packets with some of the sea monkey kits, but I personally prefer the approach of learning how to properly care for your sea monkeys, so they have plenty of babies naturally instead. And now for my overall thoughts on the Magic Castles. There are a lot of things I've come to love about these tanks over the last few weeks, and others I'm not so fond of. First up, the good stuff. There's no denying that the Magic Castle is a really great looking tank. The domed design and bright colours make it eye-catching, and I think Exploratory really did a great job at bringing Joe Orlando's sea monkey masterpiece to life. I love how the castle has small arches that the sea monkeys can swim through and interact with, and that the reef substrate is heavily textured, making it both interesting to look at and really great for promoting algae growth. The cosmetic differences between the 3 tanks doesn't affect the experience of keeping your sea monkeys too much, though I do have a slight preference for the larger size of the 2 newer tanks, which gives them more space to swim. The transparency of the blue castle definitely brightens up the tank and makes it a lot easier to see your sea monkeys in there too. So I think the decision to make this design the new standard is a great idea. My favourite part about keeping sea monkeys as pets has always been simply being able to sit and watch them swim about. I find it really relaxing, as their graceful movements are almost hypnotic, and so my only criticism of this set is the same one I have with all of the cylindrical tank designs. While the domed shape looks cool, the curved plastic distorts your view of the sea monkeys, which makes watching them and taking videos a little more challenging. Overall though, I've really fallen in love with the Magic Castle tank. It's grown on me a lot, and I can now see why this design has stood the test of time. I'm curious though, let me know down in the comments which of these 3 variants is your favourite. Personally, I still can't decide. Now it's time to find out how you can win this Crystal Blue Sea Monkey's Magic Castle set. To enter the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment on this video, and I'll pick a random winner in 1 month from now and get in touch with you here on YouTube. If you've not yet seen my tank review for the Magic Castle's companion tank, the Sea Monkeys on Mars set, I'll leave a link to that over here so you can go and watch that next, and I'll catch you in the next video.